On the edge of a quiet village there was a dense, dark forest known as the Whispering Woods. People warned against entering it, especially after sunset, but for Mia and her younger brother Lucas, the whispers of the woods were too tempting to resist. One autumn afternoon, Mia and Lucas wandered to the edge of the woods, intrigued by a pair of small birds chirping from the trees. The birds, with their beady black eyes and soft silvery feathers, hopped from branch to branch, as if beckoning the children to follow. "I bet they'll lead us somewhere cool," Lucas said, running after the birds. Mia hesitated, but the birds seemed harmless. They followed the birds deeper into the woods, weaving through thick trees and twisted roots. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting eerie shadows all around them. Suddenly the birds stopped on a low-hanging branch. They tilted their heads, watching the children with an unnerving stillness. Mia and Lucas froze as a faint whisper floated through the trees. "Turn back." The voice was soft, barely audible, but it sent a chill down Mia's spine. "Did you hear that?" Lucas whispered, his eyes wide. Before Mia could respond, the birds flew off again, their movements swift and jerky. Lucas, determined to catch up, dashed after them. Mia called after him, but he was too far ahead. The trees seemed to close in around her, the whispering growing louder. "Turn back. Leave this place." Panic surged in Mia's chest as she ran through the trees calling for Lucas. Finally, she found him in a small clearing, staring at something on the ground. The birds perched nearby, silent now, their eyes fixed on Lucas. In the middle of the clearing was a large, rotting tree stump. Carved into the bark was something that made Mia's stomach drop. Two names, Mia and Lucas. Beneath the names were strange, crude carvings of two little birds. The air grew thick and cold, the whispering now circling them from all sides. Mia grabbed Lucas's arm, pulling him away from the stump. "We need to go," she urged, her voice trembling. But when they turned to leave, the path behind them had vanished, replaced by an endless stretch of trees. The birds began to chirp again, louder this time, their eyes glinting in the fading light. They hopped closer, their beaks clicking in time with the whispered voices that echoed through the woods. "Stay!" The trees seemed to shift, the ground beneath them rumbling softly. Mia realized with growing dread that they weren't alone in the woods. Figures, shadowy and distorted, moved between the trees, watching. The birds' chirps became shrill, almost like laughter. Lucas clung to Mia, his breath shallow. "What do they want?" Mia swallowed hard, her eyes darting between the birds and the shadows lurking beyond the trees. The whispers grew louder, more insistent as the shadows crept closer. Suddenly, one of the birds flew straight at Mia's face and everything went black. When Mia awoke, the woods were quiet, but the birds were still there, perched on the branch, watching. Lucas was standing next to her, staring ahead, his eyes vacant. "Lucas," she whispered, shaking him, but he didn't respond. It was then that Mia realized something horrifying. The shadows in the trees weren't just watching them, they were waiting. And the two little birds, they had been leading them all along. Not to safety, but deeper into the heart of the Whispering Woods, where the whispers never end and no one ever leaves.